What's next doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by chance. What's next happens when experience meets expertise, when data meets dollars, and when steel meets earth. What's next happens when the promising work of Pioneer state-of-the-art research centers meets the unsparing challenges of more than 17,000 on-farm trials. Our ultimate goal is to bring the next seed breakthrough to your fields, because Pioneer isn't just our name, it's our mission. Pioneer. What's next happens here.
This RealAg Radio podcast is brought to you by Economics. Everyone has questions about their farm. From general inquiries to in-depth fertilizer questions, find straightforward answers at nutrien-economics.com.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Thursday edition of the show. Hey, thanks so much for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your work day. And it is also great to have everybody listening on the RealAg Radio podcast. Really appreciate everybody making some time and making us one of your information sources. Okay, so we got a lot to discuss here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. This is when we travel across the country and find out how people are making out on their farms, their ranches, and their barns. And this is the time of the year where lots is happening. It is, yes, this is the time of the year where it is full throttle for the most part in terms of trying to get everything wrapped up before the snow starts to fly. We got harvest yet to be completed. We got people doing some fall work, and some of the livestock producers getting ready to hunker down for the winter. Today's Farmer Rapid Fire is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. For more than 70 years, Pioneer has developed and tested products to meet your local challenges. With new Optimum Glide canola, Enlist E3 soybeans, to performing corn products and industry-leading traits and technologies to maximize your yield potential. Pioneer's on-the-ground teams can help you get the right products for your fields. Visit pioneer.com/Canada to learn more. And, of course, Optimum Glide and Pioneer Seeds and Corteva is the exclusive sponsor of our Agritechnica coverage from Hanover, Germany, coming up here in November. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun. We will bring home a massive amount of content. We'll load those videos to YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram, across all the other different social media. We'll have videos from the show. We'll have reels. It is going to be you will have, if you can't come, and I know some of you are because you've reached out to me and said, hey, let's grab a beer in Germany, which is great. And if you haven't done that, make sure you reach out. Would love to connect with you when we're over the show. But if you aren't going to be there, don't worry. We're gonna make you feel like you have been. Except for some of that great German beer, but you can always pick some of that up locally and just pretend. Close your eyes and pretend. You can do that as well. Today on the Farmer Rapid Fire, we got a great group and really looking forward to having some great discussions with them. We're going to talk to Todd Hames. He's in Marwayne, Alberta. Jocelyn Wasko ranches in Eastend, Saskatchewan with her husband Travis. We've got Jay Lewis, who is from Holstein, Ontario, and Shaun Schill is in Arthur, Ontario. And today's Pioneer agronomist joining us will be Chris Olbach. He is from the St. Thomas, Ontario region, and he'll bring us some update from his perspective and what he's hearing from some of his customers in his region. If you have any feedback on today's show, well, we'd love to hear from you. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us. You don't have to be a guest on the Farmer Rapid Fire to share your thoughts and your insights, a bit of an update. You can always send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also find us across all the different social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Twitter is now X, I guess. I should say that. You can also call the RealAg feedback line. The number is 855-776-6147. Let's take a break. And we'll get started with the Farmer Rapid Fire. We're going to start in Alberta and work our way east this week. You're listening to RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
As a grower, you spend a lot of time focused on the details. And sometimes it's only after harvest that you can step back and see the bigger picture. At AGI, we spend a lot of time focused on details too, making sure you can store your grain how you need to and move it when you need to. Learn more at aggrowth.com.
Peter Johnson at WheatPete, RealAgriculture.com. I'm the host of The Word, and I love doing The Word. I love the questions. I love the challenges. I love having to apply agronomics to all over the globe and areas outside of my normal jurisdiction. Also, I love the feedback the most, where growers challenge me, tell me about their plot results, help me to learn. The Word, absolutely the best part of my day.
Boron is an essential micronutrient for plant growth, and without boron, your crops can't absorb the macronutrients they need for higher yields. Although borates occur naturally, boron deficiency is a common soil problem. Whether in direct soil application, through fertigation, or as a foliar spray, US Borax has the right refined product for your crops. US Borax products are specifically formulated to combine with other fertilizers, lowering your application costs. Learn more at borax.com/ag.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Marwayne, Alberta. We're talking to Todd Hames. Hey, Todd, how's it going?
Great, Shaun. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What's happening on the farm right now? What's going on?
You know, we're busy trying to finish up that year-end stuff before we all know that winter comes, and there's always lots to do this time of year because there's the limited schedule, and the weather is a big factor in that. And we've been getting some beautiful afternoons here that make you energize you to get out there and get some things done.
Yeah, I refer to this time of the year, fall in Alberta, can be like lose your hoodie weather. You start at the day, it's a little chilly. You got different layers on. By the time you get to the afternoon, there's like a window where you may be outside in a t-shirt potentially, and then you kind of leave stuff all over the farm. And then the next morning, you're starting fresh with a new hoodie and a new jacket, and got to try to remember where you left those stuff from yesterday.
I think that's exactly right. It's just you get every kind of weather all throughout the day from. You're wondering, no, you're not going to get anything done this fall it is gorgeous out. We should be golfing or doing something fun.
Yeah. How's the moisture situation in Marwayne?
We don't have the moisture we'd like to see. I'm going to say we actually have more ground moisture than we had last year at this time. But it's certainly not excessive. The sloughs and the water holes are completely dried up, but the ground moisture, if you probe it, there is moisture there.
And how do you feel about this year's crop yields?
Well, they were very highly variable, I guess is the best way to put it. In my region, and I don't know how, it's not a super big area, our crops were pretty good. But you just get further little ways out and there's quite a bit a difference in the yields. And so there's, it's just variable, and we've seen that variability across the farm, or, certainly if you get into any areas that just received a little less rain or a little lighter soil or just some harder conditions.
Yeah, kind of the weather lottery.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That was a thing. But
I think one of the things we did see is when I added up the amount of rain we had over the season, it was more than I ever thought it seemed like during the year.
Oh, interesting.
And I think we had an awful lot, of course, these digital gauges, don't miss, they add it all up. One every half millimeter counts. And so it was a strange year because we had a lot of small little rains and the high humidity, I think, at times that maybe carried us through some of these dry spells, but it didn't seem like we had any amount of rain. Like it just, we had a couple rains, but it didn't seem like it ever really rained.
Oh, interesting. And that may play a little, maybe that's more of a common theme potentially out there. And because what I've been hearing from a lot of growers across different parts of Western Canada is that, not spectacular yields, but better than maybe I anticipated. If you were to ask me at the end of July, that, your experience may play into that in terms of maybe I have a little more rain than I first thought.
I think that's a very common theme. If you were to sum up this year, everybody got more than they expected. I'm not talking about the southern part of the province, but
because Todd, we got zero.
Yeah, and so you got to be careful how you word things. But for this region and quite a wider area, I heard that quite a bit. Everyone, they were surprised with what they got, and that varied in what they were expecting, of course.
Yeah.
But I think the humidity played a factor, or something did, anyways. And we've seen that humidity carry into fall. We had a strange fall. It would seem like you'd look at the weather and say, "Oh, we should be out there and get out there harvest early." And it seemed like we just couldn't get going as early as we normally do in the day. A lot of times we were starting at closer to noon or afternoon as opposed to earlier in the morning.
So have your plans already begun for the 24 crop, or when will that you have? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of that planning is done. The seed companies are phoning us during harvest to see what we're doing, and fertilizer.
I thought you were going to say in April. They were.
They haven't got that bad yet, but fertilizer. It just seems like even this year, I think I've we locked in my fertilizer price in late August, early September, and by all rights, I wish I had made that call a couple weeks earlier. It just seems like every year it should be locking fertilizer in July, August, and seed has gotten. I mean, they're phoning earlier, and some of the deadlines are pretty early, but generally, seed availability, talking canola seed, seems to be a lot better than it was. There was a period of time when if you didn't have your canola seed by the farm pro or the agri-trade, you couldn't find the varieties you wanted. And now it seems like there's a lot more variety choice in there. So I think there's most people are picking their varieties, but there's still lots of time.
Yeah. Do you like some farmers I talk, it's personal preference, right? So some people like the idea of kind of getting that plan in motion now. They're fresh. Like in this case, the 23 crop is, and some of the issues, the opportunities, things maybe the changes they wish, or different decisions they wish they would have made. They're fresh in their mind. So this is the time to kind of do the planning. And instead of waiting till you got a 24 on the calendar. And kind of when the snow's flying and it's colder than heck outside for a lot of people across Canada, that's when they prefer to do their planning. So for you, are you kind of more of that you like being more of that proactive person?
Yeah, I do. I like to get it planned. I mean, part of the reason is you're stuck in the tax cycle. We're a year end, December 31st, and which probably, a lot of the farmers are. And so it does force you have to do that planning before December 31st on some of this once you're in that cycle. And so usually we've got to have that fertilizer and some of those inputs if we're going to be pre-buying. Those are the big ones we're going to buy as fertilizer and canola seed.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of I think everyone, and that's where every farm is different. I mean, it depends on your year end and your needs, but once you're kind of in that cycle, it seems to be the way we do it and forced to do it. So we bring our fertilizer home in the fall all the time and put it in the bins.
Oh, so you got storage for it right on farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do the same when it comes to diesel fuel, or is that more just when I need it?
I find diesel, I mean, we have purchased in the fall, but generally we wait till spring. Part of the reason is if you get later in the season here, then you're purchasing winter diesel.
Oh.
So it's not as efficient for use in summer.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I like to have some winter diesel on hand for wintertime trucking. So I try to get my tank empty and put some winter diesel in there for the winter, and then, then you play the gambling stock and say, when should I buy my summer diesel? When it comes available, and from then to spring kind of thing.
Well, you perked my memory. You make sure you check out. I just did an interview with an author, Douglas Brunt, who wrote a book about the Rudolph diesel, the founder of the diesel engine. There's some winter reading for you, Todd.
Yeah, that's a good one. Rudolph must be Christmas diesel, I guess.
Yeah, famous inventor, and good book. It's an interesting story. Well, hey, Todd, all the best to you. Really appreciate you joining us this week at the Farmer Rapid Fire. I'm sure I will see you somewhere out during the winter months, during all the conferences that I have to attend. So I'm sure we'll see you.
Exactly. Sure, we'll run into, and good luck, and good luck this the meeting season and the conference season starts up here soon with the big agri-trade, which is always a fun event to get out off the farm.
That was Todd Hames from Marwayne, Alberta. I agree. When we get to farm show season, which is right here, right now, agri-trade Outdoor Farm Show in Ontario was kind of a bit of the launch point, and then we're into agri-trade, Agritechnica. And was going through my calendar earlier today, and it is packed with farm shows, events, meetings. I just can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. Love this time of the year. When we come back here on RealAg Radio on the Farmer Rapid Fire, we got one more stop in Western Canada, and then we will head east. You're listening to RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
What's next for your fields? At Pioneer, delivering industry-leading genetics drives everything we do. From the scientists in the lab to our local teams with boots on the ground, we are determined to get there first. Developing top-performing products, proven in more growing conditions than ever before. Pioneer. What's next happens here. Visit pioneer.com/Canada to learn more.
There's a reason we call it the Corn School. Videos on everything from planter setup, weed control, field trial results, yield strategies, and so much more. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com has the information and advice you need to help you succeed. Brought to you by Pride Seeds and BASF, Corn School episodes are available at cornschool.com, from RealAgriculture.com, or as a podcast from your favorite streaming service. Download the latest podcast today.
Your co-op grow team are your local experts, because we live here too. Our agronomic specialists stay up to date with the latest research and technology to help support your entire farm operation. Talk to our team for advice tailored to your farm's needs. We have recommendations to help you optimize your crop yield and quality while enhancing the health of your land. Co-op. We're all growing together. Here for your farm. Here for your family. Learn more at coop.crs/farm.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire to Eastend, Saskatchewan, and we're talking to Jocelyn Wasko. Hey, Jocelyn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Shaun?
I'm doing good. So what's happening on the ranch here this week?
We're just kind of clipping along at all of our fall jobs, getting ready for weaning, and just kind of setting up all of those fall pastures to move cows home in, tucking all the farming equipment away for the year. It's kind of what we've been up to.
It's sort of a low stress time of the year, or is there a bit of a mild light panic trying to get everything done before the snow starts to fly?
Yeah, it's funny. I love an open fall because it's like, oh, we're actually going to accomplish a lot of the jobs here, but then you just you end up working a lot and your list gets longer every year. But we always put up a big calendar and write down all the jobs we want to accomplish each day. So that it is you kind of look at everything and you're like, okay, these are the must get done. The rest can probably wait until the snow flies. But so far, the long-term forecast looks really good for us to keep working and getting the jobs done. It's kind of nice. The sun goes down a little earlier. Your days end a little sooner. So you're starting to settle into the less busy time of the year.
But the nice open fall is great. But
it's so good. It is.
But we really could use some moisture.
Yeah, it's funny. It's rained a little bit. I don't I mean, we can always use the moisture. I will always take it. But we've got a little bit of fall moisture, and I don't want to scare it away. But like, so far, so good. It's looking a lot better so far, but we'll see.
Yeah, because what we're like by the end of the summer, there grass like you had some rain in the early part, like in the spring, and haying went. My understanding is haying went okay, decent, and then it kind of dried out, right?
It did. So we had a really good spring. We were things were looking good. We seeded into some wet conditions. We even got the sprayer and the drill stuck. It was like just such a wild experience for us. And then I think the last major rain was our branding, which is the start of June. We had like a pretty decent chunk of rain, and then it did not rain again until the fall. Like there was some spotty stuff, but for us, where our farm is located, it really didn't rain again. But I mean, we're kind of trying to like not always complain about the drought. We're, it's where we live. It's what we're doing here all the time. But we did grow a lot of grass this year. So spring really set us up for quite a bit of success. We filled up dugouts. And I mean, when you're going off of a couple years of drought, we've obviously scaled back the herd, so our numbers are down. So our grass does look really quite good right now. So kind of focusing on the positives there, but
you gotta
another
right. You gotta. Otherwise,
for sure.
You sound like me complaining about the drought every day.
I know. I mean, it is something that we definitely need to talk about. It is a serious drought in this area, and like pulling off pretty terrible crops gets old, and farming and making sure the ins and outs of crop insurance so that you can do it for another year. It's not fun, but we are going to focus on the positives and just really keep looking to the future.
Well, in calf prices were very good this fall.
I know, it's really exciting. Like we've got a nice bred heifer market, a commercial bred heifer market that we sell into, and those girls are selling well. We're going to keep quite a few of our calves and do a little bit of the yearling game here. But I mean, it's really nice to see these prices, even just for selling off some cull bulls to get rid of. Like those were worth good money. Cull cows are worth good money. It's great. It's really, I mean, it needed to happen. Our inputs are through the roof, as everybody knows, but it's still really nice to see.
Now you're able to, so just so we understand and explain this to me, you're able to hold those calves back and play the yearling game because you got the feed, right?
That's right. So the reason we have the feed this year is because we didn't combine any of our durum. Our durum was looking pretty bad in the middle of summer. So we made the decision, we have the ability to cut this, bale this, and put it through a calf. So that's what we decided to do. So
instead of selling that calf in the fall here, when does that yearling typically go to market then?
So we're going to feed them all winter, and then we're going to stick them out on grass, and then we'll sell them kind of like August-ish time, September, August. Yeah. So we kind of have that ability, right? We have the area, we have the feed, we'll put it through that calf, and then we have the grass for summer, stick them out there, and then about September.
Well, and that's at the beginning of the fall run. That can be a good pricing time too.
I think so. I mean, Travis and I have talked a lot about getting into yearling, and we did some this year. We sold some this year and got some really good prices, and we're like, okay, I think we should utilize what we have here, keep back these calves, and take advantage of it because, so far, like historically, these last couple of years, it's been a good idea to do. So
on the ranch, when the snow, this nice open fall does sort of wrap up here, all good things come to an end and winter sets in. What does winter look like on the ranch?
Winter looks like mostly us getting ready for the bull sale, but our cows still live out on like a big winter field, we call it. It's like a large one section field. And then we feed them, just like put out some bales for them. So feeding cows every day. And then we have a little bit of a feedlot. That's where the calves are going to go, feeding the calves. And then bull sale time. So we get really into bull sale mood as soon as kind of the snow hits the ground. And we got to start thinking about the catalog, and we got to start thinking about taking pictures of everything. And yeah, so that's kind of where our brains go to. And then the monotony of just feeding all the animals every day.
And I can't remember, do you do an online bull sale, or is yours like a, hey, come down, come one, come all down here and come to our bull sale?
Yeah, so we do. We still have everybody come out, come on down to the ranch. We still run everything through the ring. And then we also broadcast it and do sell online on DLMS. So we do it all. We do all the things.
And so do you have a date set for the bull sale already?
Yes, we are February 2nd.
Nice. Okay, well, there you go, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, like, if
there you go.
You know, if you need some stock, you know where to, you know who to call.
Exactly.
There
look me up. I'm on all the socials.
Great stuff. Well, hey, Jocelyn, thanks for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Hope you get all that fall work done, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
You bet. Thanks for calling, Shaun.
When we come back on RealAg Radio and the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, we've got 2 stops in Ontario as well as a Pioneer agronomist. You're listening to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147.
CDC Endure is a new oat line from Alliance Seed. High yielding with excellent disease resistance and the quality end users ask for, all in one great oat variety. CDC Endure provides the high beta-glucan levels to make heart-healthy products like breakfast cereals. For more information on CDC Endure oats, as well as any other products from Alliance Seed, check out allianceseed.com or visit any Alliance Seed authorized retailers.
What were the issues in your fields this year? Did you do a soil sample? What is your soil sample telling you about some of the nutrient issues that you might be having going into next year? What herbicides did you use? What residues you might be concerned about? What weed issues did you have? What crop residues did you have? How well do you know your fields?
Get the answers to all the questions you have about your pulse crop at the Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Arthur, Ontario. We're talking to Shaun Schill. Hey, Shaun, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Yourself, Shaun?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. The Shaun squared here is doing fine. Okay. How's harvest? How are you making out?
Harvest, I would say, has been pretty decent. We are actually in a bit of a weather lull right now. Obviously, we've been last week and a half. We've been the majority of Ontario has probably been on standstill due to rains and drizzly weather. So yeah, we're all patiently waiting, but hopefully Mother Nature will soon give us the opportunity to carry on.
How do you balance out, like, obviously you want to get harvest done, so you're fighting some of this wet weather. How do you balance off some of the potential compaction issues of, mudding stuff up and making a mess as you try to get the crop off? How do you balance all that?
It's a difficult one to balance. I mean, obviously you get this time of year and you know that you're looking at the calendar and you're going, my goodness, there's so much work to be done. And, we've invested, for our own operation, we've invested in our equipment, whether it be, through tracks, tires, or the different types of systems, try to lower compaction. Tile drainage is a must for a majority of land in Ontario, to help fight compaction. So, it just, you try your best in regards to modifying equipment or doing what you can, but at the end of the day, the crop does have to come off, so you have to work with Mother Nature to a certain extent. And there has been times in the past where you're waiting for a freeze or a frost, to help you get the crop out without doing too much damage. That's what typically does happen. We're not at that point, though, at least not locally, where we're worried about compaction and or saturated ground conditions. There are some areas in Ontario in the last week and a half that's had 3-4 inches of rain. But those are kind of smaller pockets, and I would say the majority of Ontario has probably got reasonable soil conditions right now. But you never know what Mother Nature is going to throw at you at this time of year.
Yeah. Do you find harvest to be a stressful time of year, or are you kind of more of like feel like it's a calming sort of thing for you? How do you feel about harvest in general?
I'm generally, as long as things are going okay, and this is, shout out to anybody that's, dealing with stuff right now, but, and hopefully, talk it out. But I actually find it to be, as long as things are going okay, I have no issues. But you get into a week and a half of cloudy, dark, drizzly weather, and you look at the work that's going on, and it does, anxiety starts to creep in, and you become fairly anxious. So I actually find it fairly, at times, can be stressful, especially when things are, you're kind of sitting on your hands waiting to go do something. And, my personal thing is that, we work so hard, and we've got the crop to this point. Now we just don't need to go get it. And when you can't just go out and get it and, put it in the bin, that's where one of my more anxious times of the year are. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like an athlete, doing all that training, and then you get to game time and the game gets pushed back because of a rain delay, and you just want to play, right? And you just want to, you put all the work in, you got to this point, and you want to be able to execute and
exactly.
Yeah. Never thought of it that way.
Exactly. I really find it to be more of an time of year where if the sun's shining and harvest is rolling along. Yes, you're busy, you're tired, and that does create being tired does create stress. But I actually get fairly anxious, or I have the anxiety will start to build when you are not harvesting or getting the crop off as you would like to see it come off. And you get everything to this point, and then you just, when you're sitting on your hands and you want to go get it, it does make me very anxious.
Are you feeling pretty good about the corn crop from a potential standpoint, though?
Actually, I really do. I'm actually kind of surprised. I had a conversation with a friend there yesterday about crops in general, and the one thing that we found this year was, I don't know if it was, I'm pointing the finger at the smoky, cloudy weather that we had throughout the summer, but crops have been delayed. But ironically, that delay didn't really play a whole lot into, I would say, overall yield. I think, yields maybe are not, they're not record, but they're good, solid average. Average or, above average crop. But the one thing that we're finding, throughout the summer is, especially the smoke and the cloudy weather, where the discussion is around the delay of the crop, and corn has certainly been impacted by that delayed crop, delay of maturity, and even in our own particular area, there's still chop and silage, and there's still high moisture in the silage content, and there's a lot of corn that just won't be able to harvest for at least another 3 to 4 weeks, just due to overall moisture content. And talking to a friend yesterday, he says they're harvesting corn right now, but the wild swings in moisture, even within a field, are almost mind blowing. Anywhere from ranging from 24 to 34% in the same field, and he's never seen that. So the crop is going to be good, but it's not going to come out early, and it's not going to be dry.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sort of wait for some of the results a little bit longer than I guess normally we would see, and it's not going to be dry, which leads me to why, I think from the ag policy standpoint, there's a lot of people being impatient on this Bill 234, which would make grain drying exempt when it comes to on-farm grain drying exempt from the carbon tax, for sure.
Right.
From a marketing standpoint, you feeling, how's that gone for you?
I think the last time we talked about, we were fairly heavily marketed for 23. We did step into 24 marketing pretty robustly a while back, and I think we're about 50% sold on 24 crop. So personally, I feel that I've done about as good a job as I personally can for our own farming operation.
No kidding.
Yeah, and there's things that I always kind of I wish I would have done that better, but overall, I'm not always one to aim for, to try to hit home runs. I just want to make sure that we're doing some solid marketing here. And so far, I would say, I've been pretty happy with what I've been able to do here or achieve for myself. And yeah, I mean, I don't know where the market's going. There's lots of world turmoil right now, and I feel good about where I'm at this point in time, and I hope others can had taken some opportunities as well.
Yeah, you can't get it right every time, but when you do, when you feel like you did make some good decisions, it feels good.
Yeah, it does. It feels good, and I mean, you're always how would I say it right? I'm always critical of the things that I do. I try not to look back a lot in my decisions. That's a decision I made at that point in time. Did beans go another $1 higher? Yeah, sure they did. But when I was making that decision that day, I wasn't maybe looking at just necessarily the price of beans. I was looking at my overall, what my net margin was going to be, and that's the decision I made that day. So I am a bit critical of myself, but I try not to let that, fester or taint my decisions going forward. And I always try to look forward and learn some lessons from what I've done in the past.
Absolutely. Helps to know your cost of production, as you just indicated, for sure. Hey, Shaun, thanks so much for joining us here today. Really, really appreciate it. All the best to you during harvest, okay?
Thanks, Shaun. Take care.
When we come back on RealAg Radio, we're going to finish up the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
At Brett Young, we focus on what's real. It's how we became Canada's largest independent seed company. That's why we're asking a real farmer, what do you think of BY6217TF, Brett Young's TrueFlex Canola Hybrid?
What's that?
BY6217TF, Brett Young's TrueFlex Canola Hybrid with Pod Defender shatter reduction technology and Defender-rated club root and blackleg resistance.
Good yield, yeah. Probably choose it again.
Thanks, Chris. Talk to your Brett Young retailer today to see for yourself. Brett Young, distinct by design.
What's next for your fields? At Pioneer, delivering industry-leading genetics drives everything we do. From the scientists in the lab to our local teams with boots on the ground, we are determined to get there first. Developing top-performing products, proven in more growing conditions than ever before. Pioneer. What's next happens here. Visit pioneer.com/Canada to learn more.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire to Holstein, Ontario, and we're talking to Jay Lewis. Hey, Jay, how's it going?
It's going good, sir. You?
Pretty good. Okay, what's happening on the farm this week? You out harvesting beans, or what are you up to?
Well, we finished up the potato harvest this week, and we set up yesterday, and now we're out trying to get caught up on the soybeans we weren't doing when we were digging potatoes.
How was the potato yield?
My potato yield was average at best.
Oh, really? What held it back?
I'd say that the dry weather in June. Looks like we had a lot of abortion, and the set was low when in the potatoes.
Well, that's too bad.
So that's the way it goes.
What are you seeing in those soybeans from a yield perspective? Are they a little bit better?
I'd say the soybeans are average, or a little above average for us this year. Yep.
Okay.
We're very comfortable with the yields we're receiving right now. Anyways, seems to be good. Quality is good. It's just be nice to be able to stay at harvest. We've had a fair bit of rain in our area the last little while, so last 2 weeks. Today will be the first day we turned the wheel in the field combine in 2 weeks.
Oh man, that can be frustrating. You could have used some of that rain in June, like for those potatoes, and then Man, it's frustrating how it doesn't come at the right times.
Mother Nature has a funny way of keeping everybody in control and in check.
Oh, yeah, she's super hilarious. She's
the boss.
She is something. There's other words I might use at times, Jay, I think. But
she's the boss.
Yeah. The beans got some white mold in them, or is that kind of minimal?
One variety we grow has mold in them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The one variety didn't seem to, but the other variety we grow edibles like food grade beans.
Yep.
And the one variety sure has a fair bit of mold in it, but the other variety was strong, so hopefully it averages out correctly. The drill's chasing the combines around the field right now too, so that's nice. Getting some wheat gathered up, so we're just about done planting wheat right now, so which is good.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on. So what does the rotation look like when you got corn, beans, wheat? You mentioned potatoes. I don't know what else you got, but like, what does kind of the rotation look like?
So we grow corn, wheat. We grow corn, wheat, soybeans, potatoes, canola, sunflowers. So we would generally try to follow our potatoes after wheat. So it would probably, we'd go corn and then either canola, soybeans, then wheat, then potatoes, and we would have oats or sunflowers in there somewhere as well, too. But the sunflowers that we're running into the white mold issue with our sunflowers, we're not able to. Seems to be presenting it. I thought we had it under control, and we're trying to get it sprayed correctly, but we're not. I don't think we're winning. I don't think we're winning on the mold issue on the soybean or on the sunflowers.
Frustrating.
But they're a fun crop to grow. My wife really likes them, so they might have to stay around for a little while to make it all work.
Well, hey, you know what? That's important too.
Sometimes.
Yes, and
the sun.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The sunflowers go from the very, very prettiest crop you grow, and this year I had them right around my house, and they're the very prettiest crop all summer when they're out in flower and bloom, and when they're ready to harvest, they might be the ugliest thing there is that we grow. They go from one extreme to the other. They go like they're so full of life, and then they're just like dead-looking skeleton things in the field, and they're just like, please get rid of them. It's one extreme to the other.
I have never thought of it that way, but you know what? You are very correct. That is so right.
Yeah, it's really like a corn plant. It just dies down, still looks good, but that sunflower plant, when it loses its leaf, it's ugly.
Do you
ugly.
I don't know how close you are to town and stuff, but I've never been to your farm. But do you get a lot of people stopping beside your sunflowers and wandering in and taking pictures and that kind of stuff?
We did this summer. The sunflowers are right at my house this year, actually, and they the one lady, she pulls in and she parks in the driveway, and I stopped, and her partner or husband or whatever was sitting on the hood of his car, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" And she starts talking to me, and I said, "Well, can I help you with something?" He says, "Oh no, my wife's just out walking the trails." And I said, "Pardon?" "Yeah, I was out there in the sunflower field walking the trails." I said, "Well, we sprayed that field yesterday morning. I'm not sure why you want to be doing that today." Yes. His wife came right out of the field immediately.
Well, even if you didn't, it's just, you tell them that, it keeps them out of there.
Yeah, so what we did, just we had to get them out of the field. So, yeah. But there's a few around, and we just grow them. It's only my second crop.
Okay.
Of sunflowers. It was just purely something I wanted to do.
Yeah, neat.
So,
well,
yeah.
You're like,
nice.
What I thought you were going to say is trail. What trail? It's a field. Like, what trail are you talking? Like, it's not.
No, there's trails all through it. They're only about 18 inches wide with the tires, and away you go.
Do I look like a national park? Like
That's exactly right.
And that's just the adults, but I won't even tell you what the teenagers do in there. Corn. How would you describe your optimism towards the corn crop? I've been hearing the phrase cautiously optimistic, but there is concern about potentially some of the dawn levels. What's your thoughts?
I'd say I'm optimistic now that it's going to be 6 weeks ago, I wasn't very optimistic we were going to have a corn crop, but we're going to have a corn crop, and I think it's going to be some strong values. I haven't seen any disease pressure in our corn. I know there's no corn off in our area yet, so I'd say I would think we're still 2 weeks away from starting the corn harvest yet. So I have not heard much about dawn levels or any of that yet.
Well, that's good.
People are concerned about it.
That's good.
But nobody's taking it. I don't think there would be 10 acres of. They're still taking some corn silage off. So
yeah, and I've heard I've heard the corn silage yields are quite good.
Quite good. Yes, quite good. Yes. Yeah. Quite good. Yeah, a lot of. But I would say that the from what I read or what we've seen on our farm, I would say the tonnage of product is high. I wouldn't say that the tonnage of corn in the silage is more than what it was other years.
Okay.
But the actual tonnage of product that we're harvesting is greater, 100%. Like we had a lot of growth in the stock, and there's a lot of leaf and a lot of the other stuff that's in there. But I wouldn't think the corn's. I wouldn't want to estimate what the corn value is in our corn, but I think it's going to be a good above average corn crop.
Well, I hope it is. I hope that's what happens for sure. Well, hey Jay, I know you got a bit of a breakdown with your header, and you got some phone calls to make to try to get that sucker fixed. So I'll let you go, but I really do appreciate you joining us here for the Farmer Rapid Fire.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And we wrap up this week's Farmer Rapid Fire with our sponsor, Pioneer Seeds Canada. This time, though, we're talking to Chris Olbach. He's a pioneer agronomist around St. Thomas, Ontario. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
It's going good, Shaun. How are you today?
Hey, pretty good. Now, Chris, I know that you spend a lot of your week there as a pioneer agronomist talking to customers. But earlier this week, you got to do something pretty cool. You talked to a bunch of, I think it was grade 9 students, you said?
Yeah, on Monday. Just had to help my cousin out with a field trip. He's a high school teacher, and kind of my first opportunity doing that. We've been waiting to get going with some of the harvest, so it's kind of a good way to start my week, I guess. Yeah.
Did they have a lot of questions?
Corn and soybeans. Yeah, actually, really good ones. So yeah, I knew I would have to come with my best foot forward, but boy, they sure put me to the test, so that's good.
Yeah, the grade 9 mind is very curious, so I imagine you had a lot of fun, and some of the questions kind of came out of nowhere, and some of them were really, really good. So, hey, Chris, we're wheat planting around you going pretty well?
Yeah. Yep, we've had a real good stab at it lately from basically the 30th of September onwards, I'd say. My reps have been working like crazy to move supply around and get farmers what they need for seed. So a lot of it's gone on the ground. It's been really good for my area, which is kind of St. Thomas to Niagara area. We're working at getting soybeans off. So we're anywhere from 30 to 70% done that. So it's a wide range across my territory, lots of soil types, but. Every opportunity we get, we put some wheat in, which is great to see.
Yeah, in the soybeans, what are you hearing in terms of happiness around the yield numbers, and how much of an impact has white mold had in your territory?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been talking a lot about that with farmers lately. There's a lot of variability. Usually there is in Ontario, but this year for sure, I'd say we've had anywhere from 50 to 60 bushel mark, which has made a lot of people happy. And then there's some areas where we've had some excessive amounts of rain. Like when you talk about July, we had like 11.5 inches in July, which is pretty much a record for some of the areas west of St. Thomas in my area. Other areas, not that much. They've had the right amount for that kind of late season, which has really helped their yields along. And so they're quite a range. Not just white mold either, right? Like there's certainly it's been a higher pressure year for white mold, which has come with some concerns, but some fields are powering right through that. Others are taking it taking some hits from that. But yeah, everything from stem canker to charcoal rot is some of the things I've seen where those beans get maybe drowned out a little bit more from that July weather. So yeah, it's certainly a variable, and has meant a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So that's kind of where soybeans are at.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to see what this Ontario corn crop yields this year. And we're kind of in that waiting stage as we wait to be able to get the combines rolling and kind of waiting for this corn crop to properly dry down. Now, talk about that and what customers are telling you.
Yeah, I mean, waiting is the hardest part, right? We've certainly been dealing with that in Ontario this year, and I know our friends in Michigan there, some of my colleagues had the opportunity to see them, and same story there. It takes thermal time to grow corn, right? Heat over time. And we just haven't really been getting too much of that. We had a nice stretch of that in, the end of September there, which was really welcome. Of course you need a corn plant that's alive and still going to capture that. So I've had, some variances with tar spot and that kind of thing in my area coming into play too. Which has affected some growers, and maybe shut down the crop a little bit earlier. And then, you end up with just this slow to finish season, slow across the finish line. So we talk about brown layer a lot, right? Not really forming a hard black layer, being at play this year. It's definitely, we got a lot of corn that we're waiting to get at yet here, for sure.
Yeah. And a number of growers over the past, 3-4 weeks have sort of described it. I'm like, what do you think about it in terms of yield? What's out in the field? They describe it as cautiously optimistic. Is that how you would feel about it, or how would you describe it?
Yes. Yeah. I'm learning to feel that way as I get on my career. When you're staring at a good corn crop, right? Like silage yields have been tremendous so far for my area. Which is a good indicator that there's a lot of grain corn out there too, right?
Yeah.
In many cases, there has been some reports of higher toxins in that feed so far, just preliminary from some of the nutritionists I work with, and so that's concerning too. We're definitely thinking about that a lot as we go on too. So that would be the cautious optimism I imagine you're referring to. Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, so Chris, is there anything the farmer can do to assist with some of that dry down?
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance, right? So you kind of have to weigh drying out in the field with maybe some of the risks that are associated with doing that, right? We want to get the most out of the crop maturing in the field as we can, but we want to make sure if we do need to go in and combine it for whatever reason, stock integrity, from tar spot to vomitoxin in the feed, right? Concerns with that. Sometimes we'll be combining a little bit wetter than we like, or, we need to be a little bit careful how we go about that, right? So picking a good weather to actually combine in is really important. Will help you when you go to dry the corn, and then drying the corn thoroughly, right? Making sure we're doing a good job there. It's just some things that you can keep in your mind to work on as you look at harvest here. So I think that'll be important.
Chris, thanks so much for joining us. Really, really do appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again soon here on the Farmer Rapid Fire. Thanks a lot, man.
You bet. We'll talk to you later. Thanks, Shaun.
That wraps up another Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Thanks to all our farmers for participating in this week's show. If you have any feedback on anything you heard today or want to provide us with an update on how you're making out on your farm, you can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com, or of course you can always call the RealAg feedback line, 855-776-6147. Thanks everybody for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio, and we will chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the RealAg Radio podcast, brought to you by Economics. With one-of-a-kind tools, research, and content, Economics is farming's go-to information resource. Find it all on nutrient-economics.com or download the app.